Let's hear from a company that's in fact doing it. And what I mean by doing it is it's in fact embraced as a matter of business strategy and operational outcome, the circular economy. Please welcome Ralph Jorrison.
Thank you, Andrew, for the nice introduction. In 2015, DESSO became part of Tarkett. The fact that DESSO is a cradle-to-cradle company goes well together with the fact that also Tarkett is working hard on the cradle-to-cradle approach. By then it was official. Before then, Tarkett already embraced the thoughts of a cradle-to-cradle approach. But in order to say that you are a cradle-to-cradle company, you really need to embrace the concept and work according to the guidelines. If we move to the subject, there is quite a number of crises that we are currently facing in the circular economy thinking. We have a climate crisis. I think we all have a role to play in ensuring that we get lower carbon emissions, using less energy in order to produce, and making sure that in the recycling and reuse of materials, we make good progress. A second item here is the toxicity crisis. One of the aspects here is that urbanization worldwide is one of the big mega trends. It means a lot of people on a fairly small place to live, and that on itself means that indoor air quality is becoming more and more relevant for all of those working and living in indoor spaces. And that is actually 90% of our time. An important basis for product development within our company, that whatever we develop going forward has a minimum of VOCs or even no VOCs or hardly noticeable. The third one is the raw material scarcity. Planet Earth currently caters for 7 billion people. It is expected to increase to 9 billion over the next 30 years. That means that resources are going to become an issue. The circular economy thinking is vital to ensure availability of resources if you are a company producing. If the USA consumption today would be the average on the globe, we would already need 1.5 times the resources available from planet Earth. The fourth crisis is energy. Our reliance on fossil fuels is not only unsustainable in the long term, but it also makes us vulnerable to economic shocks now. Also in that respect, it is vital for companies moving forward to think about alternative solutions. I'm happy to say that DESSO has 25,000 square meters of solar panels on the roof of the plant. So those opportunities are there. You just need to put it into practice. And there's not really a lot of companies who are going to put solar panels on the roof when the payback period is only 30 or 35 years. In our thinking, that is something we do. If you look at the circular economy, you think before you act, where in the linear economy, you produce, you haven't thought it out, and then you get waste. And with that waste, you need to do something. So, key in the circular economy is that first of all, the materials that you use are healthy, that you make sure that you develop an effective take-back system at the end of its cycle. So when the product is used, when our flooring has been on the ground for like 5, 10, 15 or 20 years, we have solutions these days that we can take it back, bring it back to the factory and reuse the material. It's not recycling, it's reusing the material. It's also about making sure that you get the right level of collaboration within the whole supply chain. And there's painful processes in that respect. If your suppliers cannot follow what you want to achieve, you may have to change suppliers. It's also investment with a long-term view. This is not a quick payback. This can take many years. And also, you don't get the reward for it in the market because not every country understands the concept and the fact that it may well be a bit more expensive. If you look at the impact on strategic and operational decision-making, we have a saying within the company which is people, planet, profit, wherein more than 90% of the companies operating today, the sequence is profit, people, planet, and it's not people, planet, profit. Profit really comes third in the approach that both Tarkett and DESSO have taken, for the simple reason that if we don't start to take care of people and planet, in 30 or 40 years, there's a lot less to worry about because it will go wrong. And if business doesn't embrace this concept, the politicians for sure are not going to do it. Most politicians are elected for 4 or 5 years. What they are worried about is being re-elected. They don't come with policies for the next 20 to 30 years. So it's really a responsibility of companies, but it's also a responsibility of those who buy product to look at certain items in the circular economy approach. If we look at the impact that it has had on Tarkett and on DESSO, then what is mostly impacted is all your R&D work. You need to completely process everything again. You don't want to continue to bring product to the market that doesn't meet the objectives of being able to reuse what you're putting on the floor. A third one that is key is communications, marketing and sales. Selling a new concept needs to be well communicated. You need to charge a premium in most instances, because in the beginning it is really much more expensive to get that type of product developed and marketed. And a lot of people are not receptive to the idea of paying a bit more extra, because after 10 years, it's such a good story. One of the programs that we have put on the market for that is leasing of carpet. What it means in practice is that at the end of its life, we take back the product. And part of the deal is that we make sure that the product is being reused. The good thing is that we are also getting to the point now that whether it's our product or a competition's product, we could even do it for a product coming from competition. So we don't make that separation anymore. If you look at achievements so far, there is a lot of good things achieved. I'm going to mention a few here. As I mentioned, we have 25,000 square meters of solar panels on the roof. On the regenerated nylon, we use 50% for all the DESSO commercial carpets. We have a 46% CO2 reduction in 5 years' time. And we have been able to make sure that 80% recycled content is being used in our Soundmaster backing, which is also quite a large percentage. And another example I really like from practice is the chalk that we use in the backing of our products. This is chalk that we get from wastewater. It is positively defined recycled content, so the material we use is healthy. That is key in the cradle-to-cradle approach. And this is an example of a part of the system that took us 4 years. The cost was enormous. The risk was huge because we didn't know upfront what the outcome would be. But in the end, it succeeded. And we are now using the waste in the right way without having to distract it from the earth. If you adopt this approach, if you can prove that you do the right thing, you will be shortlisted. Those companies that cannot prove that they do the right things are not even being considered. Is that something that I expect for Australia? Let me say this, not being an Australian, I sincerely hope so. Thank you.